Greetings, folks. Day 28 of the two-legged donkey derby race to the Áras update, along with day 55 of the national health emergency crisis and day 88 since the first listeria death, and still not a word from the powers that be, and day 72 of James Glazier's battle with pepper advantage updates. So right, folks, pull up a chair, pour yourself a cup of tea and mind the sandwich, because you'd never know what's in it these days. The Áras pantomime. Ballot Sports have Catherine Connolly sitting pretty at 1 to 10, and Heather Humphreys or Helen, depending on which parish you ask, drifting out at 13 to 2. The bookies are even taking bets on whether this will be the lowest turnout in Irish history. And I put my last tea bag on that. The people are done with watching the same two-legged donkeys parade around pretending it's democracy. So here's my Michelle Keane, Kerry's plan. Spoil your vote and make the ballot paper your protest flag. When I ran as an independent candidate in both the local and general elections in Kerry, I was in the count rooms watching the spoiled votes being examined one by one. We were even taken into a back room where the presiding officer was going through them. They don't disappear. They're recorded on the state ballot papers while the returning officer holds them up for inspection. If half the country spoils their vote this Friday, the count will crawl slower than a Massey Ferguson on the N22 with a load of silage. And if you remember, as part of my election fraud investigation into the alleged tearing of the ballot papers out of the ballot books by a presiding officer in Turin-Cahill polling station, that alleged presiding officer stated on the state ballot papers that there was no spoilt votes. And as it happened, Danny Healy-Rae topped the poll in Turin-Cahill polling state that night. But look, I've full confidence in the An Garda Síochána investigation now that they will get to the bottom of this. But meanwhile, the City West scandal. A 10-year-old girl in Tuslacare was allegedly assaulted near the City West complex. The same one the government brought to house international protection applicants. She's absconded Tusla's polite form for "we lost her," was found, went missing again, and only then disclosed a serious incident. The accused man, I believe an asylum seeker, stood in court this morning and said, "I have nothing to say." Well, I do. It's shocking, it's shameful, and it's another child failed by the state while politicians argue about who wore what in 1998. This is a national disgrace. Meanwhile, Heather Humphreys is playing the hypocrisy games. Heather Humphreys went on television swearing that she'd never evict anyone. When she managed a credit union, she only took them to court. Sure, that's grand so. Meanwhile, she's tearing into Catherine Connolly for being a barrister doing her job. That's like scolding a lifeguard for pulling people out of the water. But folks, we have no confidence in these two-legged donkeys in the Áras. And just please come out and spoil your vote. Don't sit at home. Get out and spoil your vote, because make your vote count by spoiling it. Meanwhile, Elaine Mullally and Michael Collins of Independent Ireland need to come clean now. And since everyone's whispering in corners, I'll say it straight out. If Elaine Mullally has nothing to hide, she needs to come clean about those alleged cheques and invoices from her departure from Independent Ireland. Did she get paid? How much did she get paid? And for what? And as for Michael Collins, as leader of Independent Ireland, you owe the public a statement. Step up now, face the music and put an end to the gossip. Transparency isn't optional in politics. It's the bare minimum. The people of Ireland deserve straight answers, not stage whispers behind closed doors. And as for politics, people now have kept asking me over the last few days, "Michelle, would you join Elaine Mullally's new party?" To be honest, folks, that was the first I heard of it. But let me make it crystal clear. No, I wouldn't. Has she asked me to join? No, she hasn't. Would I entertain it? Not a chance. I'll be joining no mystery parties unless the books are open, the receipts are visible, and the only brown envelope in sight contains tea bags. The latest FSAI, Listeria and the nation's tummy ache update. Now on to the real national emergency. It's day 88 since the first person died in this country of Listeria food poisoning, and another woman has died since in Kerry. Thousands more have suffered chronic food poisoning, and still no accountability by the Food Safety Authority of Ireland Board or Ballymaguire Foods. Not a word, not a resignation, not even a press release, just the deafening sound of silence. And over in Pat the Baker, there's a gag order, so tight that you could use it to seal a bag of crusty rolls. And when I blew the whistle off the alleged little rodent infection, what did the Food Safety of Ireland authorities say and come back to me? The matter has been brought to a close. Brought to a close without a single photo, inspection or lab result? That's not closing the file. That's putting a floor mat over a rat hole. So I've demanded every document, report, emails, inspection notes, CCTV, the lot by Friday at 5 p.m. If they don't comply, I'll be in court faster than they can wrap a meal deal sandwich. But back in the courtroom comedy, we had James Glazier versus Pepper Advantage in courtroom 2 in the High Court yesterday. Over in the High Court, James Glazier is still fighting the good fight to save his family home from the vulture fund's Pepper. Day 72 is his battle now against Pepper Advantage. Their Eversheds lawyers who represent Pepper Advantage tried to have it struck out of court yesterday, but Judge Quinn said under no circumstances. He sent James off and said, bring me back in your preliminary summons tomorrow. Somewhere in a bank office, a solicitor just spilt his soy latte. So it's all to play for tomorrow in the High Court for James Glazier, for his constitutional and fundamental rights to keep his family home and keep himself and his family from being evicted by these vulture fund Pepper Advantage. So I'd say to everyone, get down and support him tomorrow in the High Court. So look, folks, we have the summary. Day 88 since the first Listeria death, still no answers. Day 55 of the National Health Emergency, still no accountability. Day 28 of the two-legged donkey derby and race to the Áras, and still no democracy. And day 72 of the James Glazier battle with Pepper Advantage. But there is hope and humour, because if we can laugh while the donkeys are still running in circles, we're not beaten yet. Spoil your vote, speak your truth, keep your sandwich sealed, and never ever underestimate the power of a Kerry woman with a sense of humour and an excellent memory. So folks, the wild geese under Captain Kieran Kelly's leadership are returning, and they are setting up a political party under Hibernia, and they will lead a new political party to stop this corruption of what's happening in this country to our own Irish people. And remember one thing, folks, we are taking our country back. Gora Míle Maith Agaibh.